Welcome to Technique Talk Wednesday. We're going to talk about the back to breast roll stroke turn today. One of the skills that I think is critical to being a successful IMer, but often something that it doesn't have a lot of foundation in age group swimming. It's not an easy to reach to 12 and under. So most people have to learn this at 13 and over when maybe your learning skills have changed a little bit, or you're just not used to being introduced to brand new skills. And so this is one of the more challenging skills to teach, and I think for athletes to learn at an older age. So I'm going to go right ahead and move into a PowerPoint, and I just want to start with the rules for the crossover turn. You must touch the wall while your torso is still toward your back. And this is, we're going to talk through the different video examples of this, but this is the rule that's in the rule book. You must be towards your, not towards your breast, but towards your back. And the real key, this turn, the success of this turn has happened, really determined in my mind before you even touch the wall. What your body position is prior to touching the wall, the way that the motion is set up before you touch is going to allow this, because what you're actually doing is a flip turn within the length of your arm. When you do a back turn or a freestyle turn, you have more room with which to perform the turn. But in this one, because you have to touch the wall, you're doing a flip turn within the length of your arm. So the first image that I'm going to show you here is, this is the approach. And you can see hips are straight up and down. The shoulder is back, bicep behind the ear, currently facing left. This top shoulder is open, okay? So on the approach, everything's set up, you're well aligned. This shoulder cannot come forward until after you've touched, all right? So body position on the point of contact. Your eyes are going to be turning down, your head is leading your vision, and your bicep is going to stay behind your ear, okay? So this is the touch. The head and the torso actually are just beginning. The hips are neutral, and the top shoulder has not rotated. So you can still see that this top shoulder is back. That's critical. Your hips have to stay vertical, head leads, biceps behind the ear. Okay, so from that point on, you're basically in a diagonal flip turn. All right, so you're going to see that the hips and the shoulders are not over each other. This is the next piece just after the touch. So you can see the hips are here, shoulders are here. So this is not a flip turn where your head's going straight underneath your hips and your feet are coming straight over the top. Your hips are going to rotate just a little bit more towards the horizontal plane, and they're going to create a rotational angle that allows your legs to clear the surface. So you don't want to go sideways and drag your side leg. All right. This is the actual, what it would look like to be in the middle of the turn. Body not rotating over the, feet directly overhead, but it's still, you're still doing a flip turn motion. And then the last piece that I'm gonna lead with here is that this is your approach. Whoop. This is your approach, and this is your push off. Okay, so this is the way in, eye directions here, and this is the way out, eye directions here. That is a simple metric to make sure that you are, in fact, doing the turn correctly, right? That you're going in with your vision one way and coming out with your vision another way. Before I release this, Austin or Allison, do you have anything that you want to add to this demonstration before we get into the videos?
Yeah, sure. So I think I just like to reinforce what you talked about with leading with the head, and I really do believe that that's the best cue that I can give, is your body's going to follow the direction of your head position. So if you're coming in and your head is still facing upwards, like looking at the ceiling or whatever, then you're not going to be able to initiate that turn very well. So by turning that head, that really helps you initiate the rest of the body.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So the next thing that I'm going to show is an instructional video from the race club that, and we've used these in a number of our videos, that kind of breaks down a specific teaching technique that, you know, is kind of an intermediary introduction to the way that this works. So I'm going to go ahead and go on this, and I'm going to talk through it. Basically, this athlete's just kicking in, they roll over and perform the turn. And this is somebody he's just learning, you can tell. But you're going to see he kicks in, he's got his other arm at his side, bicep behind the ear. So this way you know which arm you're supposed to touch with, and you line up your position moving pretty slowly, and you get it's not happening too fast for you to be able to react to the wall. So this is, you know, actually taking that progression to the next step. His bicep is still behind his ear. He's going to move through a flip turn. Obviously, his movements are not super clean, but feet land in a position where you get a nice clean line on the push-off. So that is, you know, kind of a drill, a race club presentation. Now I'm going to show you some of our own athletes and things that that I have videoed over the years. And we're going to start with a mistake, and so like a really common error that that people make. So Sawyer came in pretty correctly, but as you watch what happens here, he's going to rotate his feet like all the way over and come out. You know, I mean, there's just way more twisting involved than you would normally want to have. Like you can see, he brings his feet all the way up. It's just confused, right? There's too many moving parts. Now, did he get the turn done? Yeah, he got the turn done. But could he have gotten it done cleaner? Yeah. So here is an example of Will, and this is what the screenshots were. So comes in, touches, really smooth, clean body position, and out on his side. Make sure when you do this turn, you have to rotate to flat before you do the underwater pullout. Otherwise, you'll get disqualified if you're turning while you pull out. But again, just looking at this, really clean, smooth progression right through that. Now I'm going to show you another common error that I believe is, I think this one right here. And I want you to take note where her eyes are on the way in. Okay, so she's facing to the right. Pretty good approach. She's just learning it. Now she's going to twist all the way over and come out facing to the right. That's a very common error. Okay, she didn't get a great foot positioning on the wall, but really it's just that as she squared her hips up, she came all the way around and like did a full 180 and ended up going out on the same side. It's just an excessive amount of movement. You don't need that. So let's move on to some professionals, and we're going to watch Phelps and Tiago Pereira. Now I'm going to freeze frame here. This is Phelps. This is Lochte right here. You can see I want to focus on the foot position. Look how level they are when they land. It's really set up in a way that they're going to get a quality push off. So we'll watch that again. Now we're going to go over to the other side right here, Tiago Pereira. Very, very classic. You see his body position. You see that he's leading with his head. You can see he's coming around, and that's like a definition of a diagonal flip turn, right? So we'll watch those just a couple more times. You can see their feet are clearing the surface. And again, going back to Austin's point, look at the head lead. Head is driving through the rotation, just like you would normally do a flip turn. The head is the leader right here. Austin, you want to add anything? Allison, you want to add anything to these?
I think another challenge that some people, some athletes have is the foot positioning, whether that foot positioning.
We lost you for a second, Austin.
Yeah, I
I
don't
will.
think he's on.
Yeah, I'll echo that though, or I'll kind of come in. When you saw Caitlin rotate, it was too much movement within the length of her arm. And so she couldn't get her body to rotate and land on the wall with a quality foot positioning because she added too much movement in. The simplest way to get this turn done is to have anticipated it, already be leading with your head, like we said, bicep behind the back of your head, behind your ear, and already be initiating the turn when you actually make contact. The turn has already begun, leading with your vision, and then the rest of it follows through. It's very easy to get ahead of yourself, and it's okay. I think the biggest thing is getting over the fear of, what if I get disqualified, or what if I do it wrong? You're going to do it wrong, and you might get disqualified the first time you try it. It's okay. We don't introduce this at a time in the year where the first time you're going to do it is at a big meet. You need to be willing to practice it at all the little meets along the way, so that a swim that's not as meaningful as something in December or March is the first time that you do it, and the next swim is not December or March or this end of the summer. It's a time period where you have room for the failure to be okay and not like super expensive. And that's just a comment on the learning process. Austin, you cut out a little bit, but you're back.
Yeah, yeah, I'm back. I cut out my internet. I'm having some issues. I was just talking about the importance of getting the landing of the feet right. Oftentimes in the progression, I see people's feet land too high and then they push off really deep, or those feet land too deep and then they push off really shallow. So that's somewhat of an intuitive step that you have to find, but one that I see creates some issues as well.
Cool. So that's the main part of this presentation. I told you it'd be pretty short and sweet. Do people have questions?